What's his pressure gauge at the moment?
I think he's at 10 this weekend against Melbourne, in Melbourne, and no Mitchell Moses. I think all eyes, everyone in rugby league are going to be watching Dylan and have an opinion.
Welcome back to a brand new season of Immortal Behaviour. Andrew Johns, I'm not actually sure how this got approved, but I'm feeling pretty lucky to be sitting next to you, talking some footy.
Just pretend we've had a few beers at the pub.
Can do.
And we're just sitting around talking shop.
Sounds pretty good to me. Without the beers, unfortunately, but we do have to thank Danica, obviously, for her service in the lead up to this, the prior seasons. I think she sent us in a little video too.
She's gone up in the world.
Yeah, she's moving up and I'm coming down.
Today's show, yeah. I can drag anyone down, let me tell you.
Happy to be here. Here's a video from Danica for the two of us.
All right, enjoy Immortal Behaviour this year, guys. I'm jealous, but unfortunately I can't make it there on time. Allana, you're going to absolutely kill it. And not that you need it, but any advice I've got, if the swell's pumping, wrap the show up quickly. Let's get Joey back out there to show the Bronte locals how it's done. If you're getting a coffee order, his is an extra hot latte, and make sure it's burning, like scalding. And if he's had a night out with his mate Tom at the Chloe the night before the show, maybe just go easy on him the first couple of minutes, ease him into the show. But that's probably all the advice you need. I'll be tuning in, and good luck. Not that you need it, you'll kill it.
She probably nailed that. I was going to say I'm pretty surprised to see you here.
What's today?
Well, today the surf is pumping.
I know.
That's what today is.
Yeah, I'm waiting for high tide, so you're lucky I'm here.
I'll do my best to
and
power through.
I haven't been with my mate Tom, although I'm going to the races with him Saturday. So footy show Sunday, tune in.
Watch out.
Make sure you got some clear eyes.
That'll keep the fans well and truly tuned into that one. All right, Cyclone Alfred on another side, down to the footy. The Dolphins are obviously playing tonight. They left last night, but 3 of their men not on the plane because of what's happening at home. Cody Nikorima, Nichols and Kenny Bromwich.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be a tough decision for those players to not come?
Yeah, I reckon it'd be really tough. I think the club and the players, especially the coach, would have left it to them. Cody Nikorima, I understand his wife's 6 months pregnant.
She is, with another 2 kids.
And Nichols?
Well, Nichols actually got a door knock from the cops yesterday saying that their house is well and truly in the firing line.
So totally get that one. And also those guys, Kenny Bromwich, obviously a Kiwi. I don't know if they got extended family up there, so it'd make it really tough. So, yeah, I applaud their decision. It would have been a tough decision, especially game 1. You've been working for 4 months.
Oh, right.
But, yeah, well done to everyone involved.
How do you think you would have handled the situation if in wrestling with that kind of a call?
No, I would have played.
You would have played? Yeah. Sorry, Kate.
Yeah.
Sorry, kids.
Sorry. Once before.
Well done to the players that did put their family first, though, obviously, if they're in a little bit of strife. But
oh, you totally get it.
Yeah, 100%.
I think everyone gets it. So I actually wish everyone in South East Queensland all the best.
Absolutely.
It must be a horrible time waiting for it.
Would it be scary?
Is it Friday night? They're saying it's going to hit?
Yeah, they're saying it's a little bit delayed too, but it'd be scary. It's a bit of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. What about for the Dolphins themselves? Do you think they would have been behind the scenes lobbying with the fact of maybe postponing the game so that they did have their full side?
Yeah, maybe. You don't really know, but the show's got to go on. We've got TV slots, how much money TVs pay for the TV rights for the NRL. So I totally get the NRL side of things. I don't think this has ever happened before.
No.
I doubt it. So, yeah, show must go on. So, well done to everyone involved.
Couldn't agree more. This game, obviously, Dolphins coming up against South Sydney. Dolphins were fair favourites. But now, obviously, they've lost those key men. Do you think that levels it out a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still unknown with South. A lot of players out. Cam Murray's irreplaceable. Latrell is going to be missing for 2 or 3 months. And Jamie Humphries plays halfback. Not normally a halfback. I was impressed with the trials, but I don't know if that's his position. Look, everything's going to come down to Cody. Cody's going to be the one. All new spine, dummy half also. I still like the Dolphins. Their forward pack's really strong. And their bench. So I think the Dolphins can get away with it.
I like Marshall King at dummy half too.
He's the most improved player the last 2 or 3 years.
I'm with you there. All right, let's talk about some of the contenders for this season. season preview, if you look at the NRL in tiers as such, I think you'd probably agree that we've got the Melbourne Storm and the Penrith Panthers. They're that top tier, well ahead. Let's talk about maybe the second tier, so maybe 3 through to 8. Do you have your teams lined up that you think will be thereabouts?
Well, I think everyone has got their top 4 as in Melbourne, Penrith, Broncos and Sharks. Mm-hmm. And then the next 4, in no order, I've got the Dogs, the Knights, the Dolphins and Manly. But once again, it's going to come down to injuries at the right time of the year. And generally that 7th and 8th position, there's generally 4 or 5 teams duking it out for that, about a month or 2 out from the semis. But I'm going to lean towards Manly. The mail coming out of there is DCE and Turbo. Have had great off seasons. I think the Dolphins, I really like them. Tom Gilbert back from a long-term injury. He's a tough forward. And the Knights, depends on Kalen.
What about the Dogs this year? Obviously they were so successful last year. Do you think that'll affect them heading into this season? Do you think there'll be positives, or is that an even tougher task mentally to come in and already have those standards and expectations, because they obviously didn't have them to that degree?
Expectations, and teams won't take them lightly. But I was impressed. I think with the Dogs, there's a premiership within the next 5 years.
Yeah.
The way they're building, and of course they got Gus there.
They've got Gus.
One of the great administrators. He's been one of the great. He was a really good top line player, an incredible coach, and now one of the great administrators in the NRL. His impact on rugby league's been huge.
Couldn't agree more. What about last year in the competition? Did anyone from outside the 8 impress you and maybe give you enough of what they've done in the off season to be proven in this 2025 season?
I think the Dolphins. I think Isaiah Cato, everyone knows I love him as a player, another year older. And with that,
Have you spoken to him much?
No. I was thinking about going down the sheds after the game and because we need him for New South Wales.
Get in his ear.
Moving forward in 5-6 years' time when Nathan finishes up, him and Galvin and these sort of players, they're the next in line. So I've got to start brainwashing him. So can you please let me in the sheds?
Get in there.
Dolphins, they've been together a lot longer. Another year longer, and I think they're a really well-balanced team. They got the really good outside backs. Herbie Farnworth, for me, is the best centre in the world.
Yep,
Hamiso has got serious X factor. So what you got with those 2 players and the other tall bloke, Bostock?
Bostock. I think he's injured at the moment, but when he comes back.
But what you got is they turn half chances, they nail them. So the Dolphins, for me, I think they're a real good hope for making the 8.
What about the Tigers?
I think they'll be a lot better. I think they might. With injury, especially to their spine.
If they can keep their spine fit and build on those combinations, surely in a month or 2 they're firing.
Well, even last year, it wasn't the younger players. Galvin, he was an 8 out of 10. I think Buller, when he was there, was pretty much a 7 or 8 out of 10. It's their experienced guys, especially in the forward pack. They've got to be better and they've got to be more consistent. They won't be in the bottom 4. But I can't see him making the semis.
Fair enough. What about the stars of this season? Are there any, who are we going to be talking about at the end of this season? Last year there was so much conversation about that man, Lachie Galvin, who was an absolute freak. I'm sure his name will still be in the mix, I hope it is. But are there any other players that you think we'll be speaking about heavily after this season?
I think Jerome Luai. Yeah. I'm interested to see he goes, being the main singer there, the lead singer, not the backup singer. As you said, Galvin, I think there's a tour maybe at the end of the year. We might be going to the UK. I think he may be on that. Cool. The one for me, Reece Walsh. He's my early tip for the Dally M. I think he's in for a really big year. And the other one's
he'd look good on the red carpet too for the fans.
Fletcher Sharp, fellow Cessnockian. Changing position, playing in the halves, playing 5'8". In the last trial against the Roosters, he had a howler. Really good support player, and played a lot of footy, understanding the halves coming through. So, looking forward to watching Fletcher go about his work. Really good player. Back
on Lachie Galvin, how do you think second year season is a thing? Do you remember your second season?
Not really. We had a change. So we had Malcolm really come to Newcastle in our second season, and a new conditioner. We were so fit. I think we won our first 12 games or something.
Wow.
It's just important that second year you work hard, you work harder, and you just got to tweak your game. Every year you got to tweak your game and improve different areas. No worry with Lockie Galvin. He's a mad footy head. He loves it. Wants the ball in his hands. He's an absolute beauty.
His combination with his coach Benji Marshall would have to be firing too. Like the two of them, they could talk about footy underwater. Both risk takers, but also willing to learn.
A risk taker, and Benji lets him play. There's things he does where he kicks on the second play, similar to a Sammy Walker. But you learn your lessons, your big lessons on the field, making errors. So I think he's got the right coach to develop him, and I'm looking forward to him and Luai playing together.
Oh, me too. Combo. Me too. They could do some absolute freakish stuff. NRL footy tips for this week. There's no Freddie in the 8, so we're going to knock them over now, Joey. We've got Freddie's tips here too.
Is Freddie MIA? Oh, he didn't go to Vegas, did he?
He didn't go. He's still alive and breathing.
Mount Druitt, Freddie.
Let's kick it off with Thursday night footy, 7:30 tonight. Roosters and Broncos. This is a big one.
Broncos are pretty much morals. Very underdone, the Roosters. Lost some big forwards in the off-season, and Spencer Leniu suspended. So dry track, windy, no dew. Broncos by a fair bit.
It's a pretty new look Roosters side, isn't it? Freddie's right there with you. He's got the Broncos, and I took the Broncos as well. Friday night footy, the early game at 6 p.m. Tigers and the Knights. Freddie's tipping the Knights. Yeah. No Appy, big one.
Yeah, I'm not betting with my heart here. I'm betting with my brain. I'll go the Knights. They look good in the trials, the Knights.
Yeah, they did look good.
Give the ball, hashtag
Ponga.
Free Kalen.
Yeah. All right, all three of us have gone the Knights for the early game on Friday. The late one, Friday night footy from 7:30 here on 9. Rabbitohs and the Dolphins. Obviously, it's moved to Combank. Dolphins have a few out. Do you think that helps South Sydney?
Yeah, for sure. Jamie Humphries at halfback. I was impressed with him in the trial. I don't know if he's a genuine number 7. On paper, the Dolphins have still got a really good team. Sean O'Sullivan will come into the halves. Sean O'Sullivan in the trial, they pumped someone. It's the best game we've ever seen him play. Dolphins,
me too. I like Jeremy Marshall-King at hooker too. I've gone Dolphins. Freddie's actually gone South Sydney for that one. So maybe he thought those three players being out gives Wayne and his men a bit of a tip up. All right, Saturday footy, the early one at 5:30. Dragons, Bulldogs, bit of a rivalry match.
I'm going to go upset here.
Ooh.
I thought Dragons in the trials looked really big team, especially outside backs. They look really fit. The only worry for the Dragons this year is going to be their depth. But fully fit, I think the Dragons can win this one. Tight one, won't be much in it. Dragons just.
Yeah, I think it'll be tight too. I think the fact that the players that they bought are playing this game as well is a bit of a leg up. I went Dragons, Freddie went the Bulldogs. Gussie's Doggies. Their defence is always going to keep them in the games, isn't it?
I saw a couple of Bulldogs this morning having breakfast. They look fit. Well, they all look fit.
They're all fit.
Yeah.
All right, Saturday, 7:35 kick-off. Manly taking on the Cowboys. Freddie's tipping the Sea Eagles.
Yeah, Manly at home, morals.
Clean sweep.
All fit. Their spine's fit. Turbo flying. I understand Daly Cherry Evans' off-season's been huge. So
yeah, that's scary.
36 years old, he must be taking his fish oil.
You taking your fish oil?
No.
All right, wrapping it up, Sunday Arvo footy, Storm and the Eels. Freddie's tipping the Storm. Craig Bellamy, he's won every round one game. 22 he's clocked up so far. And up against the Eels, who are a little bit down on troops.
Moses. Their record without Moses is terrible. And there's going to be so much pressure on Dylan Brown. Storm by plenty.
Yep, clean sweep with the Melbourne Storm. That's our tips for round one.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
All right, we've got a little bit of a pressure gauge here, so I'm going to throw out some teams or some players' names. You're going to scale them from 1 to 2 on the 1 to 10 on the pressure scale. 10 obviously being
pressure,
10 being through the roof. You're under the pump.
You're in the furnace. Okay, let's go.
Let's kick it off with the Warriors.
I think they're an 8. I thought they were really poor in Vegas. Last year, their form at home also was poor. Sean Johnson retiring. New halves, a young half at halfback, Luke Metcalf, who I've got a wrap on.
Yeah.
But it's going to take time.
Yep.
So I think they're under the pump. I give them an 8 out of 10.
Can they perform under pressure? The Broncos, also tied into that. You've got your Madge, your Ezra Mam.
5 out of 10. I think, they haven't got the blowtorch. There's a match just lips. They can just feel it.
Do you think it helps too that Madge has come in, this is his first year? Like he'd be under more pressure?
Yeah. I don't know what it's like up there.
maybe?
One-team town. Well, they're not a one-team town anymore, but there's no bigger team, bigger club in the NRL, and really they haven't won a comp. 2006 maybe that, which for a club like Brisbane, it's not up to scratch. But I think they'll be up there towards the end of the year without a doubt, and yeah, we're going to see them. I think by Origin time they'll be leading the comp.
Love it. Heard it here first. A team that is probably under a fair bit of pressure, particularly this first month, led by Trent Robinson, the Roosters. How much pressure do you think Robbo's under?
Well, he's safe. He'll be safe there without a doubt. But I got to say, going on trial form, I think maybe it's a 7 or an 8 for Trent. The opening 9 rounds, they play the Broncos twice, and they play Penrith twice, and they play the Warriors away. So really, really tough games. We know that I think Brisbane are going to be, as I said, right up there. Penrith were just out of this world in Vegas. I thought they were so vulnerable on paper, but Nathan, Yo, Liam Martin, Dylan Edwards, they just get it done. They know how to win. So yeah, Trent, yeah, I think he'll be under some pressure.
Which part of the Roosters do you think it's the halves is the biggest issue?
Halves.
Yeah.
The halves. Sammy Walker not there is a big one. Luke Keary retiring. Sandon Smith still unknown. Chad Townsend coming right to the end. If they get an injury, a long-term injury to one of those spine players, look, Brandon Smith's not there till late in the year, they're in big trouble.
And it's
hope Teddy doesn't, but I don't know what happens if they have a long-term injury in the spine there.
Good point. Yeah, they've got some gun outside backs and obviously some good forwards, but
they're missing that.
You need to bring it all together, don't
they're
you?
Missing that alpha male. Jared's gone.
Yeah.
So, round one, the question mark for me was who's going to take on Payne.
Yeah, and who scares you from the Roosters?
Well, Spencer's gone for 2 weeks also, so it's going to be up to Lindsay. Good luck.
Good luck, Robbo. Todd Payton. Bit of out of sight, out of mind, Toddy Payton.
I'd probably go a 6 or a 7. Once again, he's retired. Well, they've got some young halves.
They do.
The worrying thing for the Cowboys, they've had 2 ACLs. Helam Lukey, who is an absolute superstar, in the back row, is on his ACL, and someone Chester, I think.
It just means that they're going to be out for so long too.
Going to be out for so long, and it attacks your depth. So I haven't got the Cowboys making the 8. So I think he's pretty safe, Toddy. I'd say about a 6 or a 7.
There's a lot of excitement this year around the Tigers. I'm pumped to see them play. How it all comes together, that spine. How much pressure do you think the Tigers are under as a whole? Not just Benji, not just the players, but the Tigers as a whole.
I'd say a 5. I think the expectation of everyone, in rugby league, even if they're not Tigers fans, wanted to see them go well. Another year under Benji and his philosophies. Yeah, I think it's about a 5. All new players. Might take a little bit of a while to click, but I don't think they're under that much pressure. Yeah, probably a 4 or a 5.
One man that's certainly been spoken about plenty lately with the Eels. No Mitch Moses this week, but Dylan Brown. What's his pressure gauge at the moment?
I think he's a 10.
Yep.
It feels like the last month. Every time you open a paper, there's talk of where Dylan's going and certain clauses in his contract. And then this weekend against Melbourne, in Melbourne, and no Mitchell Moses, I think all eyes, everyone in rugby league are going to be watching Dylan and have an opinion. And then...
Do you think it'll affect him much? Do you know enough about him as a person?
I don't think so. No, he's pretty laid back, Dylan.
Yeah.
And he doesn't watch much footy. And I doubt he'd sort of see much press, but all the guys are on social media.
You see it. It's impossible not to see it.
It's impossible not to see it.
You're right.
No, I don't think it'll affect him at all. He's, as I said, he's a real laid-back character. But all eyes are going to be on him. And then come Sunday night or Monday, there's going to be so much talk and newspaper space about Dylan and how he went without Moses.
Well, a lot of the conversation, let's delve into Dylan a little bit more, a lot of that conversation lately is his managers obviously come out and put him on the open market to see what he's worth. Did it surprise you at all?
Well, he signed a 7-year contract. For me, you sign a contract, that's it. That's your integrity, that's your word. I know there's these clauses they put in now. They got to be knocked on the head. I don't know whether this is an NRL problem or what it is, but they got to knock these clauses on the head. And for me, it just puts unwanted pressure on Dylan.
Yeah.
As I said, it's been in the press for the last few weeks. Everywhere you look, there's that. And then there's talk of, okay, the Knights are going to sign him. They're going to sign him for this amount. Now, if Parramatta start the season slow, then he's just going to wear the brunt of it. You know, your job of your playing manager is to take the pressure off your client, not to put more on.
Well, and apparently he's got to week 10 or something to decide what he wants to do. Surely that only continues to mount the pressure if performances are down.
I don't know how clubs let these clauses be put in there. It'd be interesting to see. I spoke about Gus. Gus is that strong leader, whether they have clauses in their contracts. But for me, you sign a contract, it's done.
And what about the price itself that's been thrown around through the roof? The big conversation is obviously coming from the Newcastle Knights. Do you think the price that's being thrown is worth the position? Halves at the moment on the market.
Not as a 5'8".
Not as a 5'8".
No. If they're going to sign Dylan on that money, which is reported, is it 14 mil over
It's
10
a
years?
lot of money. And then
money.
you think about how much Kalen Pong is on and well and truly deserves it, but that's a solid chunk of your salary.
But he's a class player. Like,
exactly.
When he's on Dylan, he's a world-class player, without doubt. But come, big price tag, comes a lot of pressure.
He's only 24.
But he'll play to his mid to late 30s.
Yeah.
And look, I've worked with Dylan, great young fella, tough, trains hard, but whether he's got the tools to be a main playmaker, I don't know. As usual, I'm probably wrong. But I'd love to see him in the Knights colours, but whether it gets done or not, I don't know.
If it's not the Knights, what team might it be?
Well, the Warriors. Sean Johnson's retired. He's a Kiwi boy from the Bay of Islands, I think. He's from the Bay of Islands, up that way. He's from the similar place James Fisher-Harris is from.
Yeah. Roosters are struggling a bit.
And the other one, the Chooks.
Yeah.
The Chooks have... We all sort of know that how many players they've lost, whether they've got a war chest there ready to sort of plonk. But they're the two...
But their pathways are good, right, the Roosters? Do you know much about any of the young kids and the halves coming through their pathways there at the moment?
Brett Rodwell, who played for the Steelers, his son...
His wife's my physio, Ange
really?
Rodwell. Yeah,
What's
legend,
their
great
son's
family.
Toby Rodwell.
Yes,
I've seen him
great
play
family.
Tiny bits, and he's looks a really good player of great potential, real tidy halfback. But he's a baby. He's 18 months off.
And then you think about when halves play their best footy.
What's after in their mid-20s?
Yeah.
Don't know, although Dylan and Sammy Walker, that'd be a good combination. But I don't know, other than Toby Rodwell, what's coming through. I'm sure they have players coming through. But once again, if they get an injury, long-term injury, to the spine they're putting on the field at the start of the year, they're in a bit of strife.
They sure are. All right, that's our first episode of Immortal Behaviour
Well done.
for the year. Thank you.
Great debut.
Can't wait to come back. How good. We'll see you again next week. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Enjoy the Today Show.
You're hanging out with Carl and she gets to hang out with me.